there, I'm Sarah and this is Marek. We've been saving up for years and 6 months ago we finally set off to fulfill our travel dreams. But there's a catch. We have a budget, so the better we budget, the longer we get to travel. We started our travels in England, then spent 3 months living in the snowy French Alps. After that, we headed to Poland where we tasted delicious Polish food, and now we are exploring the beautiful country of Georgia. Subscribe to follow our journey around the world. Today we are doing a Georgian food tour. Now we did some research into traditional Georgian foods and we put together this list.
And we have checked it twice.
Yes. So we're so excited to spend the whole day exploring and tasting delicious Georgian food.
So we're going to be taking you with us and showing you a different part of Batumi that we haven't shown you yet, and that is the Old Town. And we've honestly been doing so much walking lately that we decided to spoil ourselves, and we will be taking a taxi to get there. So we've just made it to Batumi Old Town, and honestly, just being here, it feels like you've been transported to a different planet. I mean, just look at this place.
Hunt to find and try all the items on this list. But there are 10 items on here, so we'll see how many we can try before we pop. To make things more interesting, we want to lay down some ground rules. So we're going to try and see who can find the most items on this list, and we'll have a tally going throughout the video. And the second thing is that we don't want to try more than 2 of the items at one place. So we want to try and explore as much as possible. Let the hunt begin! So we just ordered 2 items off the list. I found both of them, but I do have an advantage because I made the list, so I know everything that's on here. But Marek, you need to up your Game Boy.
So to start off our day of Georgian food tasting, we have something called pikhali. I've probably made a hash of that one, but it's basically got a thing called pikhali inside of it. It's got onions, cilantro and walnuts. So it's basically like a vegetarian dish, and it's all just a bunch of vegetables that's been stewed together, mixed and then made into like a ball, and it kind of looks like a falafel. Let's see what this tastes like. Oh, it is so soft and squishy. Oh my goodness. That is way better than a falafel, let me tell you that much. That is amazing. Give this a go.
Very soft and gooey. Wow, it's I'll call it very fresh. It has this fresh flavor. Oh, that's nice.
So it's actually quite a cold dish. Feels like it's just come out like a fridge type vibe. And it's very like nutty, very earthy. You're getting a lot of like herbs through it as well. It is very, very refreshing. And this is like a perfect starter, basically. So just thought to make a special mention, this isn't actually on the list, but this is something called Georgian lemonade. It's quite weird because it actually doesn't taste like lemonade. So I'm not the biggest fan of fizzy drinks, but honestly, I could drink this stuff every day. It's just got such weird and interesting flavors, and like this one, it's green because it is actually tarragon flavored. Fancy that.
It kind of looks like cream soda. So I'm not getting any of that lemonade flavor, but it tastes just like licorice. Our second dish has arrived, and this is called satsivi. This is chicken in a traditional Georgian garlic and walnut sauce, and it smells amazing. So let's give the sauce a taste. Let's get a piece of chicken. I don't know how. Marek, help. Oh my gosh. Marek, the sauce is a bit cool and then the chicken is really warm and hot. So it's such a nice contrast. I'm getting a really earthy flavoring from this sauce and like a sweet tinge as well. This is good. You need to taste this.
The sauce is basically like a creamy chicken pesto sauce, and it's so rich and like, it like coats your mouth. The chicken pieces, you would expect it to be like chicken strips type vibe, but like as you can see here, it's literally like a chicken wing. It's very interesting, but it is quite difficult to eat, but it's delicious. Honestly, if it wasn't socially frowned upon to lick your plates, we would have licked them clean. That chicken was just like fall off the bone beautiful. But anyway, that's our first 2 dishes done. It's time to carry on the hunt. So we just made it to our second restaurant for the day, and I managed to find this place, so it's a little tick to me. Now what's pretty special about this place is that we're told that they actually only opened 5 days ago, so they've been closed for over a year now because of the pandemic. Now although we don't order much when we go to the restaurants, the little bit that we do, it feels nice to help out in any way that we can. And something that we found quite interesting in the restaurants here in Georgia is that when you're looking at the drinks menu and you're ordering drinks, you either buy things in 1 glass or 1 cup or 1 liter. Like there's no in between. That's just pretty crazy to see.
How good does this look? This is called khachapuri, and this is Algerian khachapuri. There are different kinds of khachapuri. Emiratian, Lazurian, and Megrelian are just a few. Those are different regions around Georgia, and they all have different ways of making the khachapuri. But this one is basically this little boat of bread, and then you've got cheese in the middle and butter and this raw egg. And pretty much all of them are bread and cheese. This one's just got egg added in as well. Super excited to try it. We've always got a really strong flavor of cheese, but it goes really nicely with the bread. The bread brings like a nice sweet flavor to it.
So as somebody who really doesn't like raw egg, like as you can see here, it's a little bit yellow and it's still runny because of the raw egg. But just with like the strong smoky flavor of the cheese, it just like overpowers any flavor that you do get from the raw egg, and it is just absolutely delicious. Alright, so we're doing pretty well. That's 3 of the 10 items on the list so far. I'm feeling pretty good. Still got a bit of space left in my stomach.
I am starting to feel pretty full and maybe even a bit sleepy, but
let's carry on hunting. Pretty proud to say that I found this little gem of a restaurant, and we're going to be ordering 2 things here. So that's 2 points to me. Now we've had to make a very quick substitution. We were looking for a thing called Lobiani, but now we are replacing that with a thing called Lobio. But we'll tell you more about that when it comes.
Our food has just arrived and it looks amazing. This is a traditional Georgian chicken soup with walnuts. And if you're someone that struggles with nut allergies, something to keep in mind if you're planning on visiting Georgia is that a lot of the traditional Georgian meals actually contain nuts. But the star of the show is this meal right here. This is a bean soup inside the clay pot here. And then you've just got all these garnishes around as well. How good does that look? Okay.
Yeah, pretty good chicken soup. Yeah.
You're the make food nasty. Was that even correct English? I'm losing my English abilities.
So what do you think this is? Ooh, it's cornbread. One thing about cornbread is that it is incredibly dry.
Oh yeah. Just careful. Oh, sorry.
Very earthy again, hey? It's nice though, those herbs are.
Yeah.
I think they call it cilantro. That's a herb that we're not too familiar with, I think, in South Africa. And it's something that's also pretty interesting as well, is that this is literally just a little tub full of salt. Now you think like, why do you need such a lot of salt? But what they do in Georgia is that they take like, for example, they'll take a leaf. So the first time we tried it was with spring onion. So you take a leaf, and then you dip it into the salt. Damn!
Really?
It's pretty like...
Let me try that.
This will be the main meal right here. This is delicious.
That is sweet.
I know what they're doing, huh?
I wonder if this is tarragon. This reminds me of the... I don't know what I'm talking about.
So this is like, you can definitely taste the beans, but the beans have been cooked for so long that you don't have that bite of each individual bean. It's basically like it's like a proper like bean soup now. Everything's just been cooked down and everything's just so soft. And that's just the nice inclusion of the herbs, and I think there's onions in there as well. It really just brings like a sweetness to it. It's very, very good.
The chicken is so soft and tender. So creamy.
One mistake was made though. The beer was definitely a bad choice. Starting to feel very full now. That last place just put us like over the edge. There was so much food and we're actually only halfway now and we're feeling so full already. So the situation is rather dire at this moment, but the food was really, really good. So what we've come up with today is we're making a little bit of a ranking system for the food that we're eating, and we're ranking each food item out of 15. So that 15 is broken down into 3 different categories. Taste is ranking out of 5, how full the food leaves you afterwards, and the last 5 being the price. So at the end of this video, we'll give you our 1 to 10 for what we think is the best food that we ate today.
We just sat down at our 4th restaurant for the day and we're so stoked because we've managed to find an item on our list that we honestly didn't think we'd be able to find today. It's something called Kub Dari, and we'll tell you about it in just a moment when it comes. This is Kub Dari. It's basically a pastry filled with meat. Crispy and crunchy. Then you got it soft on the inside and the meat. What more can I say, Mark? This actually makes me think of a very nice comfort food. So like I can imagine on a cold day, like a rainy day, this would be such a nice thing to eat.
And we also got the infamous khinkali. This is a popular dish throughout Georgia, and honestly everybody loves it. You can find it everywhere. It's like on every street corner type of a thing. Now the way that you eat khinkali is you take this plate with your knife and fork, throw it away. Because you will not be using it for this dish. What you do is you take a khinkali, grip it here by the little stem, turn it upside down, and what you do, you bite a very little hole like that because there's a broth almost inside. So you drink out the broth from the inside, and honestly this is people's like favorite part of the khinkali. Most times they don't even eat the rest of it, it's just for the broth. So generally what people do as well is that they'll eat the pastry here and the meat inside, and then this little stem that you're gripping onto, they just chuck that. But anyway, what's inside of this is like a meat mixture, generally like a pork and a beef mixture, mixed together with herbs, and it is just so rich and so delicious.
Only 3 things left. It happened. We got our first takeaway for the day. Feeling really full right about now. But luckily those are all the main food items, like main dishes out of the way. And the last couple things on the list are a bit more like snacky. They'll take up a lot less space in our tummies. But let's hope we can find the last few things on our list.
This is definitely not food. This is something called chacha, which is a traditional, very hard Georgian liquor.
We just had to add this to our food tour because it's very Georgian and you can also find it everywhere all throughout Georgia.
So what's pretty interesting about the way that chacha is made, it's actually made from the leftover grape skins from the wine production process. So if you think about it, one single grape is capable of making both wine and chacha. So this is your traditional classic style chacha, and this is your raspberry flavored chacha. And the way that you're supposed to drink chacha in Georgia is a single straight shot.
I'll do my best.
And when you say cheers in Georgian, you say kamar juice. Kamar juice. Kamar juice. The vapor is like coming out my nose and burning my eyes.
Goes everywhere, like spreads everywhere.
Number one. So we've only got 2 things left on the list. We're not too sure if we're going to be able to find both of them, but we know where we can find one. And it's honestly one of the strangest looking things that you've ever seen. And honestly, if we didn't know what it was, we probably wouldn't eat it.
We just scored big time. We just got the last 2 items on our list. Woohoo! So this guy is what we thought we wouldn't be able to find. This is called tlapi, and it's basically a Georgian dried fruit roll kind of thing. And if you can tell us what this is before we get to the next spot where we'll sit and eat these, 10 points to you.
So when we think fruit roll, we think like nice and soft and sweet and packed with flavor, but this is like almost like a bland flavor. It's a very like dulled down fruit flavor. There's not much sweetness to it, and it is quite, it's nearly like chewing leather, but it is quite pleasant.
It's funny that you should mention leather because it literally has that consistency in your mouth. It really does feel like you're chewing on leather.
It even looks a bit like leather as well.
I actually quite like it. I feel like fruit rolls in general, like normal fruit rolls, are probably over sweetened with actual sugar rather than the sweetness from the fruit itself. Pretty good. Got it. That's love. Okay, so now it's time for the big reveal. 10 points to anyone who could guess this right. This is chichkila. Now, the first time I ever saw this on the street, they hang on the street from like the little stalls and things.
You basically walk past them and they're hanging like this in the road.
I honestly didn't know what to think of this, and I was like, what is that thing? I don't want to try that. It doesn't look appetizing at all, but it's actually not bad.
This string has got walnuts on the inside of it, and then this outside filling is a mixture of grape juice, flour, and just a little bit of sugar. So that's why it looks like this. So that's why you've got the bumps like that, because that's the grape juice that is hardened over the walnuts on the inside. So it's actually a bit of a dessert, although it doesn't look like it.
You're supposed to slice it when you eat it, but we don't have a knife here or like scissors or anything, so we're gonna bite it.
We're gonna have to eat it like barbarians.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, you got the string. That already just makes you think like, no, this is not.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
You might be able to see the nuts in there. This is actually quite a sweet one.
Honestly, when you eat it, you have to like close your eyes a bit because it doesn't look too appetizing, but it is delicious.
I have to say, I think this is one of the best ones I've tasted so far, actually. It's really good. So that wraps up our first ever food tour video, and we had so much fun eating all this food and making this video today, so we really hope you guys enjoyed it.
So it looked like we were living like a high rolling lifestyle today, and just in terms of the way that we do things and we spend our money, we really were. But just honestly, eating out and doing things like we did today in Georgia is just so reasonable, and it's just really not expensive at all. Georgia is such a reasonably priced country, and you really don't need a lot to come here and experience the culture and just try all the different Georgian dishes.
And just a note on the expenses of the food. If you eat traditional Georgian food in Georgia, it works out so much cheaper than trying to eat like Italian or Chinese or any other type of food. So it actually is the cheapest food to buy here.
And if you'd like to know exactly how much today cost us, we will put a full budget breakdown expense at the end of this video. And this is actually also our last video in Batumi, because in the next few days we will be heading on out to our next workwear spot. So together with that full budget breakdown of today, we will put a full budget breakdown of exactly how much Batumi has cost us and how much we've had to pay to stay here for the past few weeks. And now going back to the rankings. So we haven't had enough time just to formalize the final rankings and put it all down onto a list, but here is our rough scribbles over here. So here are the final rankings.
So if you enjoyed this food tour video, please do give this video a thumbs up. It really helps our channel out a lot. Comment down below if you'd want to have another food tour in the future, or let us know what your favorite dish was from today. We still can't really pick a favorite, even though we did put them in rankings. I still don't know what my favorite is. And of course, subscribe so you can follow along on all of our adventures in Georgia and in all the other countries we plan on going to in the future. And we'll see you guys back this coming Tuesday.
It's just like, oh wait, a little bit of pepper catching me in the back of the throat there. Oh.
You excited about your lemonade?
You're giving me these big eyes there.
It's because I can tell that you're speaking softer. He's gone. Go for it.
Okay.
Marek. So that wraps up our first ever food tour video, and we had so much fun eating all this food and making this video today, so we really hope you guys enjoyed it.
So
I was giving you
touch me, tap my leg to say yes, your turn to speak.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.